All right. Good morning, Ryan. How are you doing today?
Hey, Amy, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks. And I'm so excited to talk about three very timely and relevant college admissions topics. And thank you for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure.
And and yes, you always have an excellent expert opinion. And so here are the three topics we're going to talk about.
Hmm.
So number one, I'd love your input on clearly standardized testing returning. What
Okay.
does that really mean?
Mhm.
Number two, AI and
Mhm.
of course the essays, but also college applications.
Mhm.
Parents relying on AI now for a lot with college admissions and your opinion and your advice. And then of course timelines. So with this rising selectivity in a lot of colleges, just advice as far as what should be done now. And then we'll wrap that up. So those are it's a lot. Hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get through. We're gonna, we'll talk for about 15, 20 minutes today and then to be continued, of course. But I'm getting a lot of questions about standardized testing returning. I mean, I know we've seen this general trend since the pandemic has started to, since started to calm down. From your point of view, what are you seeing and what's your advice?
Yeah, great question. So we are definitely seeing some changes. And just like you, I'm getting a lot of questions from my families as well on SAT and ACT. Um, I would say the top 100 colleges, about 80% of those colleges now either require or strongly suggest students take the SAT or ACT.
Okay.
So the view has definitely changed. And so I'm encouraging my students to practice for these tests, to take those tests, obviously take them multiple times, see
Yeah.
which one they do better on and then practice that test. And of course, if they aren't great test takers, there are still great colleges and universities that are test optional, test blind. And so there are still options out there for us.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
So, for a family, I know you and I right now are working with a lot of rising seniors, and
Yes.
you can feel the heat in between now and the beginning of November that will just increase.
Yeah.
However, for families watching this who have freshmen and sophomores, what is your advice as far as the best time to take the SAT or ACT, or how many times should we take it?
Yeah. I was just had a meeting with my juniors, rising juniors last night, and we did a whole discussion on the PSAT because they're taking the PSAT in October. And I kind of had them think through why are they taking the PSAT? What is their goal with the PSAT? Is it to try to get national merit? Is it to just get a baseline for the SAT? Is it just kind of a practice just to see how taking a standardized test would be like? What was their goal? And we it ran the gamut. Some were definitely trying to score high enough to try to qualify for national merit. Some are just trying to get a baseline. Some are just trying to see what a standardized test is like, so on and so forth. So based upon their goal, they want to start at different times in terms of studying and taking this test. So to answer your question, most juniors are going to take a PSAT in October, given to them by their high school.
Okay.
A lot of high schools, well, at least in Charlotte Mecklenburg, if you go to a state school, high school, you're going to get an ACT sometime in late February, early March. And so you have kind of two baselines there. You have a PSAT and you have an ACT. In terms of a timeline, I think it's good for my juniors to start studying now. Why? Because it's the summertime. They have a little bit more time to do it while school is out before extracurricular activities start to get a little crazy. And so it's a great time to go ahead and start studying and pacing. So if they do plan on taking it in October, or maybe they plan on taking the actual SAT or ACT in October, November, December timeframe, they have plenty of time to study for it and they can
Yeah.
spend 15, 20, 30 minutes a day as opposed to trying to cram in 45 minutes to an hour if they start
Right.
in late September or early
Right.
October.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts running through my head, everything from, to what extent is really studying. If you're the type of student who studies, who does your work, who goes above and beyond, I've always begged the question, and I've had, as you know, SAT, ACT experts, talking, on my show or collaborating with.
Mhm.
I'm always curious from a teacher's point of view to what extent can studying really raise your grade. And I guess that answer depends on the student and what your goals are, like you said. So,
Sure, sure. Obviously, it depends upon the student, and I've done some research on this, and from the latest research, they've determined that 40 hours of study time is kind of like the what you want to shoot for.
okay.
More than that it doesn't really help you. Less than that, you're not
Yeah.
maximizing your chances. So
Yeah.
if your son or daughter can get 40 hours in before the test, they're going to maximize their chances to do better on
I
this.
think that's really helpful to hear.
Yeah.
I think that's really helpful. I like to, as hard as it is, as a more creative person, bring numbers into to writing. And I'll say to students, look, for many students, it takes 8 to 10 hours if you want an exceptional Common App essay.
Yeah.
Just not for everyone, not
Right.
everyone, right? But like, I think that's really helpful for you to say that about the SAT studying the good 40 hours, and that's manageable, right? Over 4 months. I mean, I think, yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
that's helpful, Ryan. Yeah.
And that's why you want to start early. Yeah.
hmm You know, I do have our next big topic involving, AI and college
Mm.
admissions and college essays, but there's something else that you said that I think is super helpful. And it's about goal setting and really knowing what your goals are. So when I asked you about that, about the SAT, ACT, I thought that was really insightful as far as, wait a minute, take a step back and see what your goals are for those standardized tests, right? Is it just to get a baseline? Is it to see if you're going to qualify for national merit? Or is it really to see like, yeah, what your score is and how much you need to improve based on your goals? And Ryan, don't you think that's perfect reason why families should start working with you early on to say, to a freshman or sophomore, not someone approaching senior year, like, what are your goals here for your college experience? And sometimes kids that young don't know as a
Right.
freshman. But
Yeah.
what you're doing is you're at least planting the seeds, right, to establish
Yeah.
those goals, because that can affect the path that you take, the rigor of your curriculum.
Absolutely. I think you brought up a really good point here. Is part of what I try to do in my job is to get students and parents to think beyond college. What is their life going to look like beyond college?
Yeah,
Why are they going to college in the first place?
yeah.
Because I think they get so focused on it, it's just the next step, right? You go to high school,
Right,
then you go to college. We're just kind of
right.
climbing up the ladder, whatever that is. And I'm trying to
Yes.
say, you know what? Let's rethink this and go,
Yeah,
okay, what you do after college is so much more important than where you go to college and what you studied in college.
right,
You really want to think about what your life is going to be like. Well,
right,
the job you're looking for provides you the income that you're looking for, the
right.
lifestyle that you're looking for. Where do you want to
Yeah,
live? Do you want to travel? And
yeah,
again, we know that can change, but we want to
right.
start thinking more
Thinking,
long term
right,
as
right. And
opposed to
and I think you and I probably have a lot of students who are, of course, I want to go wherever I can get in that's the hardest to get
Mhm.
into. And you're doing exactly what they need in providing that counseling on, wait a minute, let's really look at your life in college and beyond.
Right.
And perhaps there are 5 other great colleges out there that you haven't even heard about if you do expand your mind after those 4 years. So thank you for sharing that. I caught that when you were giving your answer about SAT, ACT, and I thought it would really connect to, how you're helping families and students beyond the standardized testing.
Yeah, I
So that's
appreciate that.
awesome.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's so important. I'm sure you do the same thing when you're, teaching about writing and essays and like, okay, what are we trying to accomplish here? What kind
Well,
of college are
right.
we trying to get into?
Yeah.
Right. So that could affect the type of essay and how they write their essay.
Well, right. And it's interesting. We've started to expand into, you know, well, this is kind of funny. How many emails do you get, Ryan, from students? And no one has ever taught that student how to write an adult an
Mhm.
email.
Right.
And not that the student can't do it or is purposely not being considerate, they just haven't been taught it.
Right.
So yeah, so just like you, I love this. Like the PSAT counseling is the college counseling. It's kind of like life counseling. And then for me, it's the college essays, but there's so much more with effective communication,
Right.
right? It's email etiquette. It's how are you participating in class? It's small steps beyond that will actually create ease with that college essay. So speaking of, What are you seeing? How are you helping kids when they're saying, "Oh yeah, I finished my essay in 30 minutes, Ryan.
Right.
This took my sister who worked with you 3 years ago 12 hours. It took me 30 minutes. I'm done. With all my supplemental essays too." And you're like, "Well, really, let me take a look at it." And you know the reason. How are you approaching AI and authenticity in essays? And that's an extreme example, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
And even with, I had someone else say to me, like, "I don't think I need a college counselor anymore, Miss Haskell, because everything's out there in AI."
Sure.
Help, please. What is your advice?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good point. And we do see this quite often. I think I saw it more last year and the year before. I think students are
I
starting to kind
agree.
of get the word is starting to come out. Authenticity is the exact word that you use, and I think that's a great way of phrasing it because when I read something that's written by AI, looks like a press release, if that makes sense. It doesn't sound like the student. It doesn't sound authentic, right? You can tell that AI wrote this, and
Right,
it's just very bland, very generic, and
right.
so it to me it's kind of obvious, and so it all goes back to authenticity.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you coach this as well when you
right,
see something like this, right?
right,
Yeah.
right, right. And I think one thing that, and same thing with, I'm only imagining like your college coaching in consulting. Like, "Oh, I have it all figured out. We don't need to talk to anyone." It's like, really? But does that chat bot know your fears, know your dreams, know
Correct.
the pressure you have on because your older brother went to some stand, right? And so it's that human connection.
Correct.
It's us helping kids realize it's okay to be vulnerable. Whether it's a conversation with you or writing a paragraph in one of those essays.
Right.
And that's almost, it's like not those mistakes, but that rawness with coaching is almost what the colleges are wanting.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, when it comes to AI does some great things for us. AI can help us with coming up with ideas potentially to write, but not actually write it for you.
Yeah,
And when it comes to college planning, it can help, pull college list, which is really good. I mean, I use AI all the time with my students, but AI is never going to replace a human connection.
of
And
course.
so that's why parents hire us is to
Right,
be there for our students and be there for our
right,
parents to guide them through this process, to show compassion with our students and
right,
because it can be very, very stressful, can be very, very frustrating when that
yeah,
idea of their essay just doesn't come to them and they're trying to pull their hair out of like, what do I do?
right,
What am I supposed
right,
to write about?
right,
A bot is not going to help them with that in terms of
right,
showing them compassion and walking them through the next steps and
right,
making them feel okay through the process and setting up kind of a human reminder as well to push them and also to
uh,
encourage them, to pat them on the back, to give them a little shove when they need it as well, saying, hey, we're a
right,
little bit behind. And so this is where that AI human connection really works when it comes to college planning. You have to have both.
right,
You just can't have one or the
right.
other. I think
Yeah.
when it comes to a very, very successful college process.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you completely. And speaking about a successful college process,
Mhm.
we know that a lot of these colleges that are very popular, especially in the South, right, are
Yeah.
seeing like record number applicants.
Yes.
And it just adds more pressure. Personally, I think with a lot of the supplemental essays being removed is in response to colleges just getting so many of these essays generated by AI. They can't prove it. It's a waste of time. You have half the kids who have spent hours on it, and now you're going to have more kids competing for the same number of spots.
Mhm.
And there's even more pressure. And so one way as far as counseling goes and helping these kids is to help them with time management and a timeline. Okay. So if you're, let's focus on, instead of going through all 4 years, if you're a rising junior right now, so ready to step into arguably one of the most academically demanding years, as far as college planning goes, just give me a little advice, parents listening to this and the replay, and maybe some students. If you're stepping into junior year and timelines, what are maybe just three key checkpoints they want to be sure to do between, August and the
Mhm.
end of next May.
Got it. Got it. So between now and when they head off to senior year, basically, right? So the first thing I would do if I sit down with them is just kind of figure out what they are taking this year, what classes they're taking. I want to make sure that they have the correct rigor for the colleges that they're applying to. Also, I
Okay.
want to look at their resume and see if there's any gaps in that resume and see if there's something that we can do between now and the end of next year to fill in those gaps.
That's great.
More
Yeah.
leadership, more volunteering,
Right.
more things that we can do to help that student stand out from the crowd. As you
Right.
mentioned, if they're applying to those colleges that everyone wants to get into.
Yeah.
All the students have the grades and the SATs and
Right.
so on and so forth. So what separates you
Right.
from someone
Yeah.
else? So
That's great. Yep.
we want to figure that out. What's our strategy, right?
Yeah.
What is that theme going to be on our application?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then of course our testing schedule. When are we just kind of talked about that a little bit.
Okay. Perfect.
Right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then of course building that college list and trying to show students, hey, you don't necessarily have to go to this particular college to get to where you want to be.
Yes.
And that to me is one of the biggest parts of
Yeah.
the process that AI can't do. Is really showing
Absolutely.
students to and parents to expand their minds a little
Yes.
bit and say, hey,
Yes.
it's okay if you don't get into this particular school.
Yes.
Because if you look at the data tells us, the numbers tell us that what you make when you graduate from this school versus this school, the difference
Yes.
is minimal.
Minimal.
Minimal. Compared, obviously
Right.
there's going to be exceptions to
Other
that.
exceptions and other factors for
Right.
why they'd want to go here, but just opening up those doors for conversation because guess what? No one else has, Ryan, and that's why they need an open dialogue with an authentic human. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
great. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay, and then give me real quick, and then we're going to wrap this up. I have the feeling most of the people watching this on the replay, parents, students, are going to be rising seniors.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're muddling through their Common App essay. They know they have to finish it. Some of them have a reduction in supplemental essays, but they still have some to write.
Right.
Got their activities list, all the things, three top things they can do so that when October 15th comes, they're at ease, they're relaxed, and they're ready to go.
Yeah. So this is really easy. First thing they need to do is call Amy Haskell or myself, because the first thing they need to do is work on their Common App personal statement. That takes the most amount of time. As you know, it's probably the most stressful part of the application. They need to be working on that ASAP. And not only that, any supplemental essays, if they do have to write supplemental
Okay.
essays.
Yeah,
So number one is reach out to you or reach out
very
to
good.
myself.
Absolutely.
Essays. Number two is college list.
Yeah,
And then everything else kind of falls into place,
yeah,
the
I think
common
you're
app,
right.
so on and so
Right,
forth, right?
right.
So essay, college list, then application.
Okay, Ryan, you make it seem so simple. If only.
If only, right?
But in all, when it's all said and done, that is the truth because you've already set your goals, right? And if you're fine-tuning and confirming that college list, you're doing all that writing and you like it and it's been proofread, everything is going to fall into place. And then you just have to let go and
Yep.
see and yeah, and see what happens, which if only people and kids thought that way and just stayed in their own lane one step at a time, got help when they needed, whether it's a small amount of help or a lot, it's okay, right? And I think that's where reaching out and admitting I do need to get better organized, or I thought my counselor at school was going to help, but now she has 65 students and has to lead like rising freshman parent night. So
It's
that's why we're
interesting.
here. Yeah, tell
Yeah,
me.
not didn't mean to cut you off there.
No,
It
you're
brought
good.
back a conversation I had yesterday with a rising senior. And the parent I was talking to, he said, you know what, I'm on social media. I'm looking at Instagram and TikTok, and I'm listening to all these people, what they should be doing when it comes to college planning. And he said, I'm just overwhelmed, right? I don't know what I should be doing because everyone's telling me I need to be doing this and this and this time. And he said, I'm just wanted to come to you, Ryan, because I know you're going to tell me what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. I'm like, yes, let's just
See?
kind of,
Right.
reduce the stress level, listen to what we're going to tell you, right?
Yeah.
Just the same thing with you when it comes to the essay, right? You're going to help them exactly take them step by step by step through this process,
Right.
reduce the stress, show
Yeah.
them how to do it efficiently right?
Yes,
And just take some of the pressure off. And so
absolutely.
I think that's what a lot of parents and students are feeling right now is that it's not necessarily, I think it's, they're hearing voices from everywhere, from other parents, from social media, from what other students are doing. And they're talking to other students and parents. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're doing this. I'm doing this. Should we be doing this? Oh, I heard we should be writing scholarship applications right now. Oh, I thought we
Oh
should
my
be doing
gosh.
essays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Right. I do know what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
it,
I
it,
do.
it gets a little overwhelming for a lot of
It
parents.
gets, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for your time. And it's
Oh,
clear, even from listening to you, and I'm sure anyone who is feels a lot more organized, feels less pressure, and just feels like they have more control to prioritize and take action. And then, of course, if you need help, we're both here. So thank you, Ryan, so much.
my pleasure.
And anyone watching this, we're here for you. I know, Ryan, if you want to tell everyone where you can be reached.
Sure, at clarkcollegeconsulting.com, offering a free consultation as well. So if you'd like to sit down for a little bit, we can kind of see where you and your son and daughter are at and help you out.
Perfect. Yes, and I highly recommend Ryan. We have been working together for years now, and I encourage you to reach out to him, whether you have a rising eighth grader, freshman through senior, and he'll absolutely help you prioritize, take action, and feel 1,000% better. So thanks so much.
My
If you
pleasure.
need any more information, please reach out to both of us, and we'll do this again. Talk to you later, everyone.
Bye, Amy.
Bye-bye.